What's up, guys? This is Bobby Douglas, and we got a new view today. I don't know if you guys will like it. I think this allows the screen to be bigger. So let me know in the comments if you guys like this new view compared to my other videos. But I'm going to try it out for today and then go back and forth from here on out, assuming I don't get any comments back. So let me know. Anyway, today we're looking at Virginia big man Mamadi Diakite. Diakite rose to national fame probably for hitting the shot against Purdue that sent Virginia to overtime, which ultimately sent them to the Final Four. And this year, he was the man at Virginia, averaged 13 points a game and 7 rebounds, was the clear number one option on Virginia for offense after being a fourth or even fifth fiddle last year on the national championship team. And listen, I have him 31st on my big board. I really like his combination of rim protection and three-point shooting. Again, he was a 36% three-point shooter this year. That was a vast improvement compared to earlier in his career as well. So I like the trajectory he's going on in that regard. He's always been a really smart, disciplined defender. And yeah, I'm excited to watch him. I'm very high on him compared to most. I've looked at several big boards that don't even have him in the top 75. I don't know how they don't have him in the top 75, but I have him as a top 35 prospect, again slotted at 31 on my big board. So the game I have today is Duke against Virginia. Diakite had 14 points and 5 rebounds and 3 turnovers in 38 minutes. And yeah, and remember we watched the full game here to just get a better understanding of when strengths and weaknesses of a prospect come to fruition in the flow of an actual game, instead of just looking at highlights, instead of just looking at segmented scouting reports that only show you clips. I like watching the full game. That's the best way to scout prospects. So that's what we do here, and let's get right into it. I'll move it over a little bit right here so that way we get a little... There we go. I think that's good, all right? So yeah, Diakite is going to be number 25 in white for Virginia. He's got the yellow hair that he dyed this season. I'm going to move this over a little bit. There we go. So again, Diakite was in the post right there. Again, he's not really a big creator off the dribble. Shows limited passing vision. Pretty raw in that aspect of his game. But he vastly improved this past season for Virginia. That time, good hands. Got the steal, I think, off the J. Huff deflection. Diakite, right place, right time there. So again, Diakite kicks out to Clark, and nothing really going on there. But he's another one of those four-year guys who I really like in this draft, especially just because there isn't a lot of top-end, raw, young talent in this draft. So I tend to lean more on the experience factor in this draft. He's definitely one of those guys. Smart defender positionally, and he's a very good defender overall. That time he kind of was lost around the screen, or not even the screen, he was just chasing. But, I like him just as a high IQ player on the defensive end. I think he'll never be a negative defensively. He's capable of switching on to smaller guards. He can also shoot the three, as we saw this past season. I think he hits 2 threes in this game as well. So, yeah, there's just a lot of things to like about Diakite in this draft class, in my opinion. That time he would have gotten that offensive rebound, I think. So he's guarding, it looks like, Matthew Hurt right now on D. And again, he's capable of playing on the perimeter. I think he's more of a post defender. Really smart rotations guy, though. So nothing really to worry about on the intellectual side, I would say, of defense. It's just, can he really stay in front of quicker guards at the NBA level? He did a pretty decent job at Virginia doing that. But again, that's also Virginia's system working for him, And again, every Virginia player looks way better on defense individually as a result of the awesome pack line that Tony Bennett runs at Virginia. So it's kind of hard to really get a true value for individual defending, but I think Diakite was certainly an anchor defensively on this year's team and last year's team as well. So he's on Hurt again. Again, active, choppy feet, really good contest, and Hurt just threw up a brick. And again, he's really good at, again, staying big, moving his feet, never really gets off balance. Again, can move his feet pretty quickly for a 6'9" big. It's just guarding guards. I'm not really sure how that'll work. But he's very active on the perimeter, which is good. A lot of guys, when they get dragged out to the perimeter at his size, they'll often look a little bit lazy, a little bit lethargic. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about in that regard with Diakite. He's always very active and always in a position to make a play. We got free throws here, so I'll skip this. Pop up A. So now Diakite is on Jack White, it looks like. And again, Jack White, he's considered a floor spacing forward, but he doesn't really shoot well from the three-point line. But Diakite will have to move around to guard him. Good job from Diakite popping out to the three, and that's where he's going to be dangerous. And right there, he knocks down that three on the pop. And again, I really like guys who have unique combinations of skills, right? And I think Diakite is one of those guys who is just very unique in his skill set, especially if he can stay consistent on that three ball. I mean, he's a really look at how pesky he is on the ball for a big guy. You rarely see that, you know. So I think as a 3-point shooting big man who can defend on the perimeter and spots, who's a very good rim protector and just interior defender as well, I think that's a really unique skill set. So that's why I have him very high on my board. And I think he was one of the last guys to withdraw from the 2019 draft. I know his decision went right down to the wire. And then he ultimately came back, and I think he really helped himself by coming back. We got something here, I think, and one, but skip ahead these free throws. So Duke's put on the press here. And here's Diakite. That time he did a really good job advancing that ball, and then ultimately led to an easy dunk. Not a gifted passer by any stretch of the imagination. I think he only averaged less than assists a game compared to 2 turnovers a game. So not great, obviously. And then again, he struggles in spots where he really has to think offensively. He's much better in terms of just terms of reacting with the ball in his hands. So obviously that's catch and shoot threes, put back dunks, pick and roll where the roll is open for layups, things like that. He's really good at situations where he has to make decisions offensively. I think it's a little bit more challenging for him. And again, he's a pretty raw prospect in terms of skill development, and that's why I think the 3-point shooting is a really awesome skill that he managed to procure during his senior season. I don't know what we got going on here. So he's back on Hurt. Now he's doubling Vernon Carey in the post. Good job hedging and recovering to knock off the cutter. And then Virginia's offense is so well communicated and organized. So Diakite pretty much left Matthew Hurt, which was his man, and they didn't even miss a beat on defense. So that's why I say it's hard. It's the 2-3 zone for Washington disguises defenders like Jaden McDaniels, right? And Virginia's defense, their team defenses is so elite that it almost disguises individual defense as well. But I think Diakite is a very good defender. And right here, let's see what he does. That's a solid move. Again, if he gets more of that little dribble, jump hook, jump shot, floater aspect into his game, I think he could be a pretty versatile offensive player. But again, I don't really trust his handle against sustained pressure. And again, his vision is lacking. So in terms of guys who can pick apart defenses on a 3-on-2 situation in a short roll, he's not one of those guys. That's why I see him as more of a rim runner and floor spacer, which is still a very nice combination to have. But he doesn't really have that passing vision that I would say you necessarily are looking for in a roll man. He's no Opie Toppin in that regard. He's no Xavier Tillman in that regard. A lot more raw. And his ceiling probably maxes out as an energy big off the bench. But, those players are becoming just as valuable as the stars. It's all about how you contribute in your role. So Diakite, look at how he pretty much moves like a guard on offense. I will say he's really good at moving without the ball, makes sharp, strong cuts. So he does here. Good job staying in front of his man right there. Again, I really don't understand why he's not being considered in the top 50 at least of most of these big boards. I really do think he's a legit NBA player. Virginia won this game, as we see the points per game graphic. Final score is like 52-50 or something. So that time he's just in the post. Nice little floater right there. He does the "you're too small" celebration. Again, right there, he's pretty good out of the post. He has nice touch around the basket. He shot, I believe, I want to get this number right. He shot around 48% from the floor this year. Not super efficient for a big man, but again, I do think he has nice touch, and that three-point shot is really coming along nicely. And you can just see how active he is on the perimeter. Again, he uses his long arms. He's a big fan of just the second he's on the ball on the perimeter of just swiping down, and that just creates enough chaos to just kind of give him a leg up in one-on-one defending situations on the perimeter. So I like that about his game. Again, he's very active defensively, works extremely hard. And listen, he's starting with Jay Huff. That time he probably could have gotten back a little bit more, but good tip out right there. But he's playing with Jay Huff a lot of the time too, who's a big 7. He's a floor spacer as well. But, it's hard to share the floor with someone who's taller than you if you're at Diakite's height, and he did it really well for Virginia this year. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for Virginia, and in some aspects it definitely was. But Diakite, they definitely had relatively high tournament hopes given to what they thought was going to happen at the beginning of this season. Obviously before the tournament got canceled. Still haven't had the under 12 media time, I don't think. Diakite also will set good off-ball screens, too. That's what I like about him. He'll make contact a lot of the time. That time we got a foul. And let's see, I'll skip ahead to right here. Oh, here we go. We're back. That time it looks like some sort of blocker mover. Virginia's big on blocker mover and then the pack line defense, obviously. So right now Diakite's on a guard and then he just switched it. Good job communicating. That's another thing too. He's a senior, big-time leader on the defensive end. He's the anchor for Virginia. He will talk with his teammates. He'll communicate switches, different coverages, and that's really something I look for in terms of older big guys. Again, right there, that's really elite level footwork staying in front. I think that's Wendell Moore, who's a guard. Look at that. That's a really solid. That's an extremely solid defensive possession from Diakite right there. Moved his feet really well, stayed in front of the smaller and quicker defender or offender. Got a really good contest on the shot, led to a brick. And again, so I obviously worry about him against quicker NBA guards because they're faster, they're more athletic, they're stronger. But in terms of college, he gave you no reason to doubt his perimeter quickness. And I think so. Assuming that translates, and if it translates, I think he can be a very, very solid NBA defender because he really showed no signs of being behind a step in college on the perimeter. He's a very switchable guy in college. And again, another thing too with him is that on defense on the perimeter, you see a lot of big guys and they look like they're just, holding their ground and just trying not to get beat. Diakite doesn't do that. Diakite is very active. He's in your face. He's trying to beat you on defense. When a lot of guys that are at his size and his situation, they're just worried about not getting beat. Diakite is very much, that time he just totally flew by in the pump fake, but he's very much he's very willing to just harass perimeter players he's very willing to harass perimeter players with the ball. And so I think that's a very unique thing about him. He never shows any fear that he's going to get beat off the dribble. Get a ball screen right here. Pick and pop. Let's see if... Oh, I could have shot that. Good pump fake. But again, right there, you see the lack of vision. Just, again, kind of forced things when he had to think about his dribble a little bit too much, and it led to an easy interception for Duke. That's a good play from Kihei Clark. So Diakite did a decent job. So that time it just looked like a bad scramble for Virginia. Diakite dove with DeLorean, and it led to a contest. I don't know who shot the three, but they were all out of whack. Luckily, they missed a shot. But let's see. So he's out right here, and then he comes back in like 2 minutes of game time. He plays 30. The box score said he played 38 minutes. I'm not really sure if that's right. I feel like he was out a little bit more when I was going over my pregame prep with this video, but I don't know. So now he's on Jack White in the post. Good job fronting that cut. And then good physical rebound right there, too. Got a foul here, I think, and I think it's the bonus for Virginia, so I'll skip this. Got an ad coming up here in 2 seconds, so I will skip that as soon as I can. Ooh, we get the full 15-second ad. That's a bummer. But yeah, I remember when I was watching Diakite, I remember when he was a junior and he was, making his decision about the draft, I was kind of perplexed as to why it was even a question. I thought he for sure should have stayed. Ultimately made the right decision, but I was questioning why it was taking so long because he didn't seem like an NBA guy to me at that time. And then I watched him a lot at his senior season because I go to Notre Dame, so I watch a lot of ACC basketball, and he really impressed me every single time I watched him. I watched him against Florida State. He played really well. Notre Dame, he played really well. This game, he played very well. Louisville, he played very well. So he just had a lot of really good games, and he got a lot more versatile on offense, which I think really helps his NBA draft stock. Good job staying down. Great contest. Very good at timing his jump defensively as well. Oh, there's Jay Huff. Ooh, that was a mega slam. So Duke's running horns again. And that means Diakite is going to be on the perimeter. He's guarding Matthew Hurt right here, who's not really a threat to beat him off the dribble, I would say. And again, you can tell he's just in the guy's face, not afraid of getting beat. I love that confidence from him. That time he did get beat a little bit. Looks like he just got, looks like he was just a little bit too aggressive on that closeout. Was a step late. So many ball fakes. He had a foul. I think it's on Diakite. Yeah. That is just a animalistic dunk. Damn. So again, look at how he just is swiping at the ball, just creating total havoc. Again, good job walling up right there. Almost got that pick. That wasn't on him. I think number 23 on Virginia let that cut happen. But again, he can just create so much chaos on the perimeter, especially with guys his size who he's going to be guarding who maybe aren't that comfortable handling the ball. He's going to be their worst nightmare on defense. On offense, actually. And Jay Huff's having game of his life. Diakite with a energetic rebound right there. So again, he popped out right there. They almost had him. Let's see what he does here. So he's doubling the post right there. That's part of the plan. I think whenever Carey touches the ball in the post, they're sending Diakite usually at him to double him. And then they just have the weak side corner defender tag the man in the middle that Diakite leaves. And they did that a lot. I remember they did that with that's a Virginia staple to just try and double any post guy. I think they did it really well when Jahlil Okafor was at Duke. They would try to throw doubles at him a lot. But Jahlil Okafor was a really good he would turn the ball over a lot, but he could just easily bring the ball over his head and just kind of pick apart defenses with his passing. I hate this ad. I don't know. So we got another free throw here, so I'll skip this. Good screen from Diakite there. Oh, that time he just wasn't expecting the pass on the roll. He could have had a dunk right there. It's a shame. This is on Jack White. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he has to help here. It doesn't look like it. That's a push off, yeah. I love Virginia games sometimes. 23-21 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Had some space to dribble there, but again, that's not really his game. Let's see what he does here. So right there, that's a pretty good take. You can tell he's not super comfortable with the ball in his hands. It's a lot of straight line drives when he does decide to drive from the perimeter. Nothing really too flashy. So right there, he maybe could have committed to the help a little bit more, but again, he still disrupted the drive. I think he got his arm on the ball for a second, but I think the layup went in anyway. But here's Diakite, yep. So again, right there, he's a pretty slow post operator. You know, he'll take his time when he gets down there. That's something that he maybe should work on a little bit more, just kind of speeding up his post game. But again, if he speeds it up, he'll turn the ball over a lot more, especially early in his NBA career. So it's definitely a balancing act with him. But again, you see so much quickness on defense, and then when he has the ball on offense, it just seems kind of to leave his body. He's just a lot clunkier with the ball in his hands. Here's Diakite again. Let's see if he hits this. No. It's still a work in progress on the three. He had an encouraging percentage, but, you know, not going to go in every time. This is his first year, I think, shooting well from three. So I expect it to improve. They can't all be winners. That time it looked like I think they got Kihei on the foul, but again, good elevation from Diakite there. I think he might have deflected that. I'm not 100% sure, though. Diakite in the dunker spot right now. I don't think anything's going to happen with him on this play. Looking for the alley-oop. That was a bad pass from Key. I don't think he should have thrown that. Diakite was calling for it, though. But that lane was just too clogged for that type of play, I think. Playing some volleyball. And that's the end of the first half. So, again, 25-25, low-scoring game. It's Virginia, obviously. So, I'll pause the video here, and we will see you for the second half. Thank you guys for watching. And, yeah, we'll see you then.